So I'm going to be cooking for a family of 6, and I usually do my dumplings in a pot like this one. And this is just a stock pot, and it's one of the big ones. And then I use a large pot for the chicken, to cook the chicken in. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using poultry seasoning, thyme leaves, baking powder, a little bit of adobo, some minced garlic, black pepper, peas and carrots, some chicken bouillon cubes, one of the envelopes of the Lipton Recipe Secrets, the onion, and you can use fresh carrots if you want to. I'm going to be adding some of these today. Some all-purpose flour, some butter or some all-vegetable shortening. The one I'm using today is Crisco, and a can of cream of chicken, an egg, and a pack of chicken thighs. Other things that you may need will be a rolling pin, a wooden spoon, and just a big handled spoon. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill the pot up with water a little bit over halfway, just to get the water going. And in this water, I'm going to add 3 of the chicken flavor bouillons. You can add these after it boils if you want to. It doesn't really matter. And then after it boils, I will be adding one of these envelopes and some thyme and garlic and just this. So while the water's heating up, I'm going to start cutting the chicken. I'm going to be removing both the skin and the bone. So after I remove the chicken from the bone, I just put it to the side because we're going to cook it just like this, and when it's done I'm going to be shredding it. And I am going to keep some of the bones to throw in there to make kind of like a chicken stock. So I'm going to be saving a few of the bones. The chicken is cut and the water is pretty much boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and add an envelope of the Lipton Recipe Secrets in the onion. I'm going to add some minced garlic. And I'm going to add some thyme leaves. And I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken. Now you just have to let this boil and let the chicken cook fully. I'm going to cover that up. And while that's cooking, we're going to start on the dumplings. I'm going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour, And since this is a half cup measuring cup, I'm just going to do 4 of these. Let's do this. I'm just going to keep a little bit on the side. So to the flour, I'm going to add some poultry seasoning. Just a few pinches. I'm going to add some pepper. And some salt. So now I'm going to take an egg and I'm going to whisk it in this little bowl. So before we mix this together, I need to get pretty much a cup of the stock from this pot. So I'm gonna have to take that out now. I guess I'll take about half a cup. And I just added some ice cubes to the broth so it can get cold. And this is going to be the water that we add to the flour mix. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the Crisco into the flour. And I'm going to add the egg. I'm going to add some of the cold broth. And I'm just going to start mixing this all around. End up like in this doughy form, and all you have to do is just kind of keep mixing it all together until it's all the same consistency. So usually if you have a clean countertop, most people will do it directly on the countertop, but I don't like doing that just because, I don't know. So what I do is I just get aluminum foil and I just, I take out a few pieces and sprinkle a little bit of the flour just so the dough won't stick to the aluminum. Alright. Put it directly on top here. And now I'm going to start flattening out the dough. So I guess we'll go this way. You're going to want to get it as flat as you can. Without going over. Alright. Alright, so that's pretty flat. So the chicken is pretty much done. I'm just going to be removing the pieces of chicken and putting them into this white container so they can cool off. All the chicken from here, and we're just going to save the stock so we can put it with the dumplings. So I'm just going to bring this back here and let the chicken cool off. So before I start cutting the dumplings, I'm going to go ahead and slice a carrot. And I'm just going to slice them very, very thin. Before we start cutting the dumplings, I like to get the pot where I'm going to put the dumplings in going, so I'm going to do that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a cup just plain water. After I turn on the stove, I'm going to go ahead and add a cup of water. Add a can of the cream of chicken. And I'm just going to mix the cream with the water and let it dissolve a little bit. And after this is heated up, I'm going to go ahead and add the stock that we have in the pot to this pot. That's where you're going to get all the rich flavors from the chicken and all the flavors that I added to the pot. I've just added the stock, and now would be a good time to add the diced carrots. So to make things faster, you can use a pizza cutter. It's basically just make a straight line, and I like to make them about bite-sized. So I slice them really small because they do puff up as they cook. Just going to take the edges off, and with what we cut from the edges, we could probably get one dumpling. So pretty much this little square will give you a bite-size dumpling. And what I do is I just press it in and just pretty much squeeze it to thin it out. It'll make it a little bit bigger, but as they cook, they will fluff up a little bit. And with that baking powder that we added to the flour, that will make them even more fluffier. So I just kind of make a few, and we just have to, you know, keep pressing them in, thinning them out. And as soon as the stock starts boiling, we'll just add these in and let it cook. All right. And like I said in the beginning, this is it takes time, it's tedious work. You pretty much add the dumplings one by one, but at the end, it's, you know, all the hard work pays off. And you can add as many or as little as you want. I like to add a lot. My family likes the dumplings. And as this is cooking, the chicken is cooling off, because what we're going to do is we're going to shred, we're going to pull the chicken, kind of shred it, and just add it to the stock here. So we're just going to continue to press and add to the pot. So we've been at this for about 10 minutes, and this is as far as we've gotten. So we still got hundreds of dumplings to go. Like I said, it's very time consuming. And the ones we've added to the pot, this is how it's looking so far. And we're just cutting them and adding them as we go. So basically this is what we have left. I'm going to go ahead and discard it because we did get a lot of dumplings out of this already. So the dumplings are cooking. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go grab the chicken and start shredding it and just adding it to the pot. So now that the chicken has cooled off, I'm going to just start shredding it pretty much in these little bite-size portions. Just kind of shredding it like this. So after adding the chicken and the peas and carrots, this is what it looks like pretty much. And you just have to let it simmer at low heat for about 30 minutes until the dumplings are fully cooked and all the flavors marry together. And it should be done. So after 30 minutes it should be done, and I'm just going to serve.